Hello, and welcome to something different I'm trying. I'm going to start this new video series called This Week I Played, where I'm just going to discuss a game I played with you all. There's a lot of games I've played that I feel like I can't really make a good video on the way I normally do, but I still really want to talk about them. So I'm going to try this new thing where I'm just going to talk to you about a game. I have no script, just kind of a little bullet point list of things I want to talk about. And by the end of it, we'll see if this is just some weird video where I ramble on for like 10 minutes or if I actually make some good points. So let's get into it. This week I played Tinykin, a wonderful, charming, adorable little game. It is just so wholesome and so amazing. Tinykin follows Milo, your main character, who is setting out to try and figure out where humanity came from. At this point, humanity's on a new planet and they don't know about Earth, and he finally discovers Earth and decides to travel back there. But when he does travel to Earth, he finds that everything is huge and it's still the year 1991. Also, there's sentient bugs everywhere. One of the first bugs you meet helps you kind of figure out what's going on. He tells you that there's this deity, Ardwin, that all the bugs are worshipping. Turns out Ardwin was the person who used to live at this house, and he was an inventor. He has all these blueprints he's left behind, and one of them's actually for a teleportation machine that Remy agrees to help you fix if you can get the parts for him. Now, each one of the pieces you need for the machine are kind of tied up into a problem in each room of the house that a group of bugs is having. For instance, one of the first things you're trying to get is this banner, but the beetles who live in this area are saying they're the only ones who can talk to Ardwin and they can hear his divine message. So it's up to you to figure out how to get this message out to everybody. You're able to do that by putting a CD in the CD player, and it turns out it's just a song that's been playing. So in return for this, the beetles then give you the banner. Now, to complete these tasks, you use your Tinykin, which are these pikmin-like creatures, but honestly, I feel like this game does a really good job of making them more useful than pikmin are in the game. I feel like when it comes to pikmin, it's very much just like, oh, these ones go through fire, these ones can go through electricity, these ones go underwater. Where with the Tinykin, they thought outside of the box more of what the different abilities could be. You have your purple Tinykin that can lift heavy objects, very similar to Pikmin. You have your blue Tinykin that you can use to carry an electric current. You string them along so that way you can power different devices. The green Tinykin are stackable and you can use them to climb up to different heights. The red Tinykin explode whenever they hit certain objects. And finally, you have your yellow Tinykin, which basically just form ramps so that way you can move stuff from different heights. Now, another way this game really varies from Pikmin is the fact it's not just about gathering items and that's it. There's a huge emphasis on exploration. This game reminds me a lot of what would happen if you mix something like Mario and Pikmin together versus just kind of a Pikmin clone. And that's one thing I really have to commend them with this game. It's really fun to explore and control this game. Never once was there an area where I was like, I have to get all the way up there. Was just naturally happening as I was exploring this world. It also helps too that they give you a lot of tools to explore these areas. You have your soap board that you use to just slide around and get to areas faster. There's also a gliding bubble you can use. Each bubble has a certain limit that you're able to stay in the air for, but as you progress through the game, you unlock more bubbles. There's also these adorable little creatures that shoot out these silk webs so that way you're able to get back to the areas you were exploring. It just makes getting around the level so much easier to go back to places you had already explored. One of the other things they implemented in this game that makes exploring so much easier is the fact that there's no life system, and if you fall from too great of a height, you end up actually just being reset where you fell from. This is one of the things in the game I didn't really appreciate at first till I got to some levels where you get really high up. I feel like in a lot of older platformer games, they used to really punish you if you made one stupid mistake on a jump, where this just makes it a much more relaxing experience where if you miss a jump, it's okay, you'll get reset back up and just keep on your merry way. Overall, the difficulty level of this game is not very hard, but this isn't a game I feel like that's trying to be a challenging experience. It just wants to bring you into this world and have a good time. There's very few enemies that will actually hurt you in this game, and none of the puzzles to solve are too complicated. But that didn't really take away from this game. I never felt like I was being talked down to with it. It just more was giving me a peaceful experience. Where I'd say probably the most difficulty in this game comes from is just trying to get enough Tinykin to do the different tasks. In the game, the Tinykin don't follow you from each room to each room. So every new level you go to, you have to amass a new army of Tinykin. And this can be kind of challenging when you first start a new level, because there's certain things you can't do until you find enough blue Tinykin or purple Tinykin. But overall, it's really not that big of a deal, as long as you kind of remember where you needed to go with those Tinykin. Another thing I forgot to mention that makes this game just that much better is the fact that the Tinykin all have their own special animation that plays when you first discover them. They're just super charming and adorable, and I just absolutely love these. Honestly, just the whole look of the game itself is very charming. I really like the idea of these 2D cutouts in a 3D world. It makes for a very unique art style. One of the other things that really just ties this game together too is the soundtrack. Almost all the songs just have this happy, I'm on a fun adventure feel to them. Just every level and its music meshed together so well, it really just brought together the whole game. Now, with all that said, I do have a few gripes with the game. It's nothing major, just small things I've noticed while I was playing. For one, the frame rate does dip a bit sometimes. Granted, this could be because I was playing on the Switch. I don't know how it runs on something like PC or PlayStation, but it's just an issue I was coming across with the Switch version. Also, whenever you're near bugs, they just have a sound effect that constantly plays. For the most part, it's not that bad, but every now and then I found myself just moving away from an area because I was sick of listening to that bug just keep making the same noise over and over. And my last and probably pettiest gripe with the game is there's no fast travel system in it. This is something I would love to see them update and put into the game. It really is not that big of a deal when you're playing through the game because it's pretty linear as you're going. But if you're going back to complete this game, there are some levels that you can only get to by going through another level. It would just be kind of nice to just be able to hop into each level and complete it as you want to. Speaking of completing levels, I feel like there's a lot of replay value with this game. When I was playing through the game, some of the levels I just 100%ed as I was playing them, but this is definitely a game I could see myself going back to and 100%ing all the way through.
Hey everybody, it's editing maybe here real quick. I wanted to clarify one with the bugs making noises. I feel like I made it seem like every single NPC is annoying, and that's not the case. It's just certain ones are. A lot of the NPCs in this game don't really make that much noise and are fine to be around. Second is I didn't talk about the ending of the game in this video, and I don't know why. I think I was worried about giving spoilers away. Without spoiling the ending of the game, I really loved it. It was one of the best parts of the game. It kind of is emotional. It ties together very well. It was just a nice bow on the package of what this game is, and it really just kind of left me at the end being like, oh wow, that was an amazing story along with a great game. So anyways, I'll throw it back to Other Me now. I'm going to get this video out for you all, so hopefully you'll be watching this in like 12 hours. Alright, bye.
But that's about all I have to say on the game. Hopefully it didn't turn into some incoherent ramble. If it did, thank you for sitting through it. You really didn't need to do that. But I do want to try and make more videos like this. There's something a little bit easier for me to do. The reviews that I normally do take a lot of work, and honestly it's hard working a full-time job and doing those. So it'd just be kind of nice to find something to slip in there every now and then that's a lot easier for me to get out for you all. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you want to leave a like, I'd really appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that way you can come back to watch me just incoherently ramble about more games. Or maybe see what new game I dug up on the Switch that's just absolutely garbage.